gangs of New York that we've placed in power in Baghdad is going to be the dictator.
We are talking about Iraq at the present time, whether you can get it out of the mayhem which is in.
How would you feel if you were living under a dictator who would deny you your basic rights?
I'm talking about the process now in Iraq, which is occupied.
You just got rid of Saddam Hussein, so the next dictator is going to be better?
But for the Iraqis, being blown up by suicide bombers, people being shot, people starving, the babies dying, democracy is irrelevant.
Democracy is here to stay in Iraq, no matter what anybody else says.
Who
is going to choose a dictator? Give me an answer.
The ones that it will be, first of all,
one do you want?
the resistance.
No, let him
Okay,
speak.
hold on,
They're
hold
asking
on,
him questions.
hold on.
Let him speak.
I am a proud British citizen, and I do everything that I can do within my power to integrate into that society, and I don't allow this simple piece of cloth to stop me from doing it.
During the Second World War, Muslims fought for Britain. They fought against the fascists. They contributed in British society.
Is the faith bill a barrier to integration? No. Is it an excuse for those who want to use it as a barrier to integration? Yes, it is.
You're basically saying, take it or leave it. There's no compromise.
The veil is not in the Quran. It is not a requirement of Islam. It was practiced centuries later and is more of a custom. A 12-year-old in a girls' school wants to cover up in front of her male teachers. Why aren't we concerned that she feels under attack by this teacher?
I can be 100% Muslim and 100% American without any dissonance or friction between them. You either fit everywhere or you fit nowhere. This is a double standard.
Right. Okay.
It's not a standard that you make for any white Westerner.
Okay.
You've given yourself a barrier that when British people want to hear you, automatically they see you as the other.
Believe me, I've lived for 35 years in the UK. You will never be fully accepted. As long as you want to call yourself a Muslim, you can integrate but don't assimilate.
If we do the same as other developed countries do, if we work harder, we're not going to be in second place anymore.
Does any of the fault lie on the side of those who are seeing a barrier? Those who do not look beyond a simple piece of cloth?
This idea that the person that is suffering oppression has the primary responsibility to alleviate the discomfort of the oppressor is an unjust concept.
I think that we almost reached the time that we should have to find a solution. And if by giving up with the right of return, let me do it.
You paint a picture of misery, of people who have absolutely nothing in the refugee camps, and yet you would take away their last principle.
I believe that by acknowledging the right of return, Israel will acknowledge the ethnic cleansing it perpetrated against the Palestinians in 1948.
Isn't peace just as legitimate a dream as the right of return?
There is no Israeli partner who is going to agree that there will be both a Palestinian state and side by side there will be an Israel with a Palestinian majority. It will not happen.
Our challenge today is to transform a Jewish sectarian government into a government for all the people who live in Israel-Palestine.
The return of the Jews was justified in the eyes of the world after 2,000 years. Why cannot the return of the Palestinian after 60 years be accepted?
If I'm the last man standing on earth that believe in this right of returning back to Palestine, I'll still keep fighting for it till the day that I'll die.
You can continue fighting for your right to come back. But I am, as a Palestinian who already fought for the past 60 years, I am really today came here without any energy to continue my fighting against the occupation.
I'm a third-generation Palestinian refugee, and if there is a chance that giving up the right of return might improve the lives of other Palestinians, then I'm for giving it up.
Ladies and gentlemen, we've come to the point in the proceedings where we're going to vote on the motion. And there it is, 80.4% for the motion, 81.6% against. The motion has been resoundingly defeated. As you can see, we've left behind our regular venue in the Gulf, and we're here in Britain as guests of the Oxford Union.
Why does a tepid rendering of the documentary record evoke hysteria in the United States?
The way in which little-known people become world-renowned is by claiming that they are the victim of some Zionist conspiracy.
There are, red lines that you really, as a politician or journalist, dare not cross.
What may be arguably true of the United States is simply not true of Europe. The reality is it wasn't the Israel lobby that made Egypt, Jordan, Syria dictatorships.
The only rational explanation is there is a lobby out there which is desperately trying to confuse people about the elementary, uncontroversial record on the subject.
Hamas was democratically elected. Why has it not been accepted by the United States?
Because Hamas refuses the right to recognize the right of Israel to exist, and also has not rejected terrorism.
If the pro-Israel lobby is so successful, where were they when the National Union of Journalists boycotted Israel?
They were following on the precedent that was actually rather successfully followed with relation to South Africa.
Why has Congress or the Senate never, ever in its history for the last 30 years passed anything against Israel? Nothing.
The lobby is powerful in Congress and ensures that the Congress is supportive of Israel is true. Does that mean that the lobby stifles debate? No, that's not true.
Torture, is immoral, is inhuman.
There is concrete evidence that in certain circumstances lives have been saved by the use of interrogation techniques, however regrettable they may be.
There is no justification in the entire world for any supervision to legalize that immoral action.
Would you authorize torture if you thought
Never.
the results would save your children?
Never.
Freshta has said she wouldn't allow torture to save her family. I don't think I'd be so altruistic. I hate it, but we've got to live with it sometimes.
Governments made the rule, and they made it because they know torture is wrong morally, legally, politically, and practically.
Torture does happen, so isn't it actually better for us to regulate it?
Do you trust the law to control torture in countries like Saudi Arabia or Egypt or Syria?
Understand that this will happen, whatever we think about it, and try and provide legal protections for individuals who don't have any otherwise.
Don't you think it's a very idealistic position to believe that torture can actually be regulated?
What other methods would you suggest of extracting information required to save lives?
I don't want to torture someone, pull their nails out. I don't want that. Is it better to hurt someone but not kill them and save a lot of people's lives? And that's the basic debate.
I assure you both that it never works.